Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whichever time of the day you're viewing this, or welcome back, all the whole nine yard, you know what I'm saying? But welcome to today's episode of the Raw Podcast. I am your host with the most, Rahsaan Corbin II. We're here another episode to kick off season three. You know what I'm saying? Got a fellow rattler, like most of my guests are. Hate to be biased, but I'm not biased. It's just most of my network are rattlers. So, you know what I'm saying? We got Chaz on the call. What's up, Chaz? How you doing today?
What's up? What's up? Doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. It's been a while. I see you pop out the blue from time to time when I was on campus at FAMU, promoting yourself, business, as well as, being an ambassador for FAMU, making sure people know who the best public HBCU is.
Come on, every time, every time.
Well, we're at 6 years in a row now with
Right,
public
60
HBCU.
years.
6 years. Cool.
Listen, 60 more to go. 60 more to go. Come on.
Got you. So, yeah, I was going to bring on another rattler. We'll hear about more of his story later on. But before that, we're going to do a little icebreaker just to get the blood flowing a little bit, like a warm up before the workout.
Got you, got you.
All right. So here's our funny icebreaker question. I don't know how funny they'll be, but
Okay, we'll
um,
see.
it's going to be this or that. So,
Okay.
would you rather eat pineapple pizza or candy corn? It's not funny, but it's still.
Candy corn. Oh Lord. Yeah. I just tasted it in my mouth. I was like, oh God. But yes.
Okay. Would you rather win the lottery or find your soulmate?
Mmm. That's such a good question. This is actually really funny. Um, Not gonna lie. Win the lottery. Like, well, no, I'm gonna say find my soulmate. Find my soulmate. Yeah, that'll be
Okay.
tea.
Okay.
I had to think about. I was
Let's say
like,
it's
yeah.
let's say there's an apocalypse happening. Which one do you think you have the best chance against? Zombies or vampires?
Ooh, I can run a little fast, so I'm gonna say zombies because I just feel like vampires. You gonna get me. You gonna get me. Okay.
All right, we'll do a few more. Let's say another apocalypse happens.
hmm
Robots or dinosaurs? Which one do you think you have the better chance of surviving?
Ooh. Um. It it might have to be dinosaurs. Not gonna lie. Like I feel like robots are too smart for us. Like yeah, it's too smart for me.
Let's see. Would you rather experience a talking pet or a talking baby? Like
A
full on
talking pet.
sentences.
Yeah, I would say yeah, talking pet. I feel like talking babies, they're gonna annoy me. I'm sorry. Love the babies though. Love the babies, but
Hey
no.
man, feed me, change me.
Right. Every second, it's me. Gosh.
Let's see. We'll do one more. We'll do one more. Are you working hard or are you hardly working when it comes to, day-to-day life?
Oh. Low key, I think I'm working too hard. And
Too
I should
hard.
start hardly working, honestly. Yeah, yeah, honestly.
Got you. Well, we gotta leave questions out the way. Now it's time to get into the interview. We got the blood flowing a little bit, got some laughs in, show our
Right,
humanity.
right.
You know what I mean? So yeah, so give a quick little introduction about yourself. FAMU people are known for the notorious greetings, salutations, all that stuff. But just give a quick overview, where you from, or what's your name, where you from, and where'd you go to, we already know where you went to school, but where'd you go to school, what'd you study?
Got you. Well, greetings. I am Chazriq Chazam Clarke. I'm a two-time graduate from FAMU. I studied theater and performing arts. And I'm originally from Broward County, Florida. So that's South Florida for people who don't know. Fort Lauderdale. Yeah, get into it.
And then, so you said performing arts and what else?
Business administration.
Business administration. Got you. I think might have missed that part. But when'd you graduate? When'd you graduate? What year did you graduate?
So I graduated in the spring of 2022, April 29th. We'll never forget the day. Okay.
Hmm. Got you. And then you got your bachelor's and master's at the same time?
So I got two bachelors.
Two
Funny,
bachelors. Okay.
yeah. Funny thing is, I think a lot of people think I have my master's, and I'm like, maybe I should go get one. So we're
Hmm.
we're in the works of doing that now. Mhm.
Got you. And then we're going to talk about this more later, but what are you currently doing for work?
Yeah, so doing a lot for work, honestly. A lot of different things, which all like fall in my enterprise. So I am currently the CEO and founder of Chazam Enterprises. So the biggest notable one is Chazam Fans. So I sell customizable Clarke fans representing HBCUs. We just started doing PWIs. We do different cultures and communities. So countries, for instance, I'm Jamaican, so we have Jamaican fan, Haiti fan, then we got sparkles, colors, a lot of different fans. And then obviously Cowboy Carter's coming up, so we got Beyonce inspired fans. So a lot of fans. But other than fans, I really have a passion for like film and theater and fashion. So that's kind of a lot of the other things under Shazam Enterprises. So with theater and film, I'm actually producing a short film that I wrote right now. It's called Him Plus. So hopefully that'll be, thank you. That hopefully that'll be coming out sometime soon, this month or next month. And then in addition to that, I'm a theater teacher as well. I teach drama in my local community. And yeah, everything else is just still in the works between fashion and other things like that. I'm trying to learn how to sew, so we're gonna see how that goes.
Okay, and then before I move on, like I said, we're going to talk about Shazam fans later on, but you opened up a store a few months ago. Was it in
Hmm.
Tampa, Florida, or Orlando? It's somewhere in Florida.
Yeah, it's
Forgot
in
where.
It's in Fort Lauderdale, and it's so funny.
Okay.
We just shut it down. um,
Oh, oh man.
no, you're good.
All right, all right. My fault. You know, we'll talk about it's okay. We'll talk
We
about
gonna
this a
get
little
into it. We gonna
later.
get into it. We
But
gonna get into it.
I remember seeing that, and I was like, "Yo, that's crazy. It's really
Hmm.
good. It's a really big accomplishment, especially opening a physical store." But like, I said, we'll
Thank
talk about
you,
this
thank
more
you.
later because there's many challenges of entrepreneurship.
Come
But
on.
before we get to that, let's talk about your life at FAMU. So first off, why FAMU?
Honestly, it's because they gave me a full ride. I'm never gonna lie. Not even gonna lie. And it's crazy because at first I didn't want to go to FAMU because everyone from South Florida goes to FAMU. My older brother, he graduated from FAMU, and I just wanted to like create my own path. But after talking to people, I went to spring preview. I saw probate. I saw Set Friday. They gave me the full ride scholarship. I said, I'm sold. I'm sold. Where I need to sign. So that was the ultimate decision. But I think just the culture, community, and love that FAMU has, fell in love with it.
Where else did you apply to? We're always planning on staying within Florida.
No, I want to get out of Florida, honestly. So, Howard was like my top choice, if I'm not gonna lie, and then right after it was Morehouse. Then I, applied to FSU schools like that. But I feel like I honestly didn't know too much about HBCUs. I just knew like those were schools that majority of Black people went to, like Howard and
Hmm.
Morehouse. But then as time went on, I was like, oh, they're historically Black. Got you. So, understanding that, I think that kind of what pushed me want to go to schools like Howard and Morehouse. But the money wasn't right. So I said, you know what, let me go with this. Yes.
Got you, got you. And you were very speaking of like, FAMU making people up. What was your on-campus involvement that made you who you are 3 years postgraduate? Like, what was your on-campus involvement?
I was too involved, as a lot of people would say. I literally did almost anything that there is to do at FAMU. So I was an orientation leader. I was a resident assistant. I was on the university housing court. I was Mr. University Housing. I did a step team called the Melodic Stepping Experience Incorporated. I was in Collegiate 100, which is like a men's empowerment group. And I think that definitely, that was all technically like freshman year. So literally after that, I pledged, I became a member of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated my sophomore year. I was Mystery Central Theater. After that, I pledged Phi Mu Alpha, which is a music fraternity, my junior year. Then I became King of Orange and Green, which is essentially on our roll court, the spirit of the school. And yeah, just continue just doing different things with each of those organizations. I was over two pageants for Phi Mu Alpha and Phi Beta Sigma. So those experiences were really great. Was in a couple plays here and there. And yeah, that was most of the involvement. Yeah.
That's what's up. Yeah, so I transferred in spring 21. So I think my
Hmm.
first introduction of you was when you were King of Orange and Green, the
Yeah.
2021-2022 school year. So that's what I know
Hmm.
you from. So it's good to know, a little bit more about you, behind the scenes. So that's amazing. And you're still transferring
Thank
out
you.
all too many involvements over to real life. It's a good and bad thing, but you know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? But like, how do you balance it all? Especially when you're on royal court.
Mm. Honestly, I think the power of community is really, really important. So by the time I became a junior, I actually moved off campus. I thought I was going to stay on campus all 4 years because my scholarship allowed me to. But when I was in Collegiate 100, I had made some great brothers, and they're like, Chaz, you should move off campus to get a balance of not always being on campus all the time.
Mm.
And I really think I needed that. My friends would, let's go to a party, let's travel to Orlando to go to Busch Gardens. Like it was so many different things, or Tampa. And I was like, I don't have time for this. Like I have to be on the court. I have to do this. But they made me make time for myself and just to experience fun and college life. So I really appreciate my friends.
The power community.
Yeah.
How the lesson experience from your on-campus involvement, how'd they translate over into where you are now?
Honestly, I think the lesson was that you can do anything and everything. And I will, let me not say everything, but you can do anything you put your mind to, honestly. So I think when I was an undergrad, being involved in so many things, people would be like, Chaz, like, where do you have time for like you and stuff? And I think post grad is still that same kind of question. But I think because I juggled a lot in undergrad, juggling a lot post grad, not only is it more meaningful because this is things I actually want to do and, it's my career, but I think I also find those little moments to take time to myself to whether vacation or just go roller skating, doing things like that.
That's what's up. And what was the impact that FAMU had on your life from personal, social, professional? You talked about a little bit people telling you like make time for stuff, but like professionally, personally, how'd that change you and shape you to freshman year you compared to when you graduated?
Um, I think it impacted me by showing me that I'm worthy. And I think especially before going to college, I was like, I wasn't honestly gonna go to college. I was like, I'm gonna get a job at McDonald's, work my way up, hopefully, become like the manager and make a couple bucks. But I think going to FAMU showed me that you're worthy to be an entrepreneur. You're worthy to be an actor or a writer or a director, whatever you want to do, you're worthy of it. And I think especially for Black communities, it's sometimes hard to understand it because, a lot of times we just get what's given to us, but knowing that we can go for the stars, reach for the stars, that's what FAMU taught me.
Okay. What were some like major key moments, like accolades you achieved while on campus?
Mm. Some accolades I would definitely say was becoming a rising future maker through AT&T. I was set that it was like a pretty much application online through AT&T, and I was set that by a lot of alumni and students. And I'm looking like, why do y'all think I'm a rising future maker? Like I don't think so, but I applied anyway, and I was really grateful to get it because I think it was another reminder to me that Chaz, you're worthy of things. You just have to go out for it. And the worst thing that's going to happen is you don't get it. So
Mhm.
getting the opportunity, I think it's opened up so many different doors for me post grad as well as while I was still in school. So yeah, I think that's definitely my top one.
Okay. Were there any mentors you had along the way? Professors, family members, community members, who has helped you along the way? Are there anyone you want to give a shout out to specifically, helped you while you were at FAMU?
Yeah, I would say definitely all of my theater professors, Anitra Small, Kimberly Harding, Luther Wells, those they definitely pushed me in every sense of the word. But definitely shout out to the business school as well. Shout out to Dean Friday Stroud. Shout out to Kelvin Farmer, who's a Sigma. I think he definitely helped me in regards to SBI and Sigma in terms of a lot of stuff. And then students wise, I had a lot of great mentors as well from Trayon Sargent. He's a dancer and he was in the theater program to Sherrod Taylor, also a dancer and theater student who both graduated and they're living in New York. So proud of them. Kyle Devin Hunter, theater student, love him, love him. And I will say, in terms of SBI, I didn't have a lot of mentors, so I wish if I could, get some more mentors from SBI, I would have. But definitely appreciate everyone who just made an impact on my FAMU experience.
That's what's up. You can shout out everybody who has helped him along the way. 3 years later, he's still doing great.
Thank you, thank you.
What advice would you, because I know you do a lot of, I know you help out some of the students from DC or the DMV area with the FAMU experience. Keyword, experience. Always gotta
Experience,
get
come
that
on.
experience, you know what I'm saying? But what advice would you give to those who are interested in attending an HBCU and or those who are currently trying to find their crowd on campus?
Mm. I would definitely say to be yourself. I think that's the biggest thing. When I first got to FAM, it was very, very scary for me because not only did I have an older brother who was there, so I'm like, I have to prove to everybody that I'm not like him. But then on top of that, I think as a freshman, you don't have a lot of friends, you don't have a lot of community. So finding yourself and finding your community on such a big campus, especially HBCU campus, it is hard. But I think when you are yourself, those people who are like you or aligned with you, they'll attract to you. So just be yourself. That's the biggest thing.
What about people who are interested in attending HBCU? How should they go about, getting more information, or especially for FAMU, how should they look up more information on, college tours or getting in
Mhm.
contact with people? What's some advice you would give for how to go about that?
My first advice is to reach out to alumni. Like, not gonna lie, I think in terms of all the schools I was applying to, from Morehouse to Howard to FSU, and obviously FAMU, my biggest thing was reaching out to alumni who were aligned with what I wanted to do. So, for instance, for Howard, and granted, I didn't reach out to like Taraji P. Henson or Chadwick Boseman, but those were like my biggest inspirations that helped me be like, okay, let me reach out to my friend who I know is a student there right now, or somebody who I know graduated. But knowing people who graduated from these schools who are our alumni doing great things that are serving as great examples for you would be a great way to learn more about your HBCU. And obviously, after that, seeing how you can do those campus tours, see how you can, connect with, maybe there's an alumni chapter in your area. So connecting with those people and kind of getting resources from scholarships to, even help moving up there, because I think a lot of times the transition is a lot. So just
Mhm.
getting all the help you can get is the biggest thing, especially when you're looking at HBCU.
Speaking of transitions, we're going to dive into postgraduate life.
Mm.
So, first, let's think about I want to say the first 6 months. I'm approaching a year of post graduation. Those first six, as the time of this filming, I hit a year at my company, June 3rd.
Come on,
But yeah,
congrats. Yeah, of course.
appreciate you. But let's think about the first, let's say 3, 6 months post graduation. You're working. Like, were the expectations about life after college, did that match reality for you?
No, it was a roller coaster, honestly. And it's funny because I wouldn't call this a real job, but my first job after graduating was Burlington, in Tallahassee, because I had secured a full-time offer. But I feel like when it comes to these offers, you gotta wait till the job starts, and the
Hmm.
bills didn't stop. So I was like, let me just get a quick job, and I was able to work in Burlington, at Burlington in, I want to say it was Appalachie Parkway, so in
Yeah, yeah.
Tallahassee essentially. And then after that, I started my first real job with Capital One that I want to say it was about July, and then I moved to DC for the job, and it was great. I was there for about 2 years, and I realized this wasn't for me. But in that, I knew that while I was at a job making, pretty much six figures, I should save and invest in myself. So that's essentially what kind of pushed me to start, Chazam Enterprises, namely Chazam Fans.
And then what was your role at Capital One?
So I was actually part of a management rotational program. So I had about four different roles within 2 years. And the first role I was in was actually like an agile delivery lead. So if I'm being honest, that was the best job I ever had. And it showed me that I can really do anything in terms of like being an entrepreneur if I wanted to, because you just have to be agile about how you deliver certain things. So these are the deadlines that you have. This is what you need to deliver on, make it happen. And as an agile delivery lead, I pretty much was over a team of people and making sure they did what they needed to do. But 6 months in, they cut the job. So I was like, oh, okay. So literally, I had to move to a whole different position, and the position started like just getting crazier and crazier, making me work within like technology and stuff. And anyone who knows me, technology is not really my thing. Like I can work a computer, but they wanted to work with like risk and stuff like that, and it just was not given for me. So more rotations, and it just kept getting worse and worse, honestly.
Okay. And then how'd you find that job? Was it through the career fair, career services, external resources? How'd you find it?
Funny enough, social media.
Social
And I
media?
think, yeah, and it's crazy because I was always the person that would people would tell me like, oh, you invest so much into social media, it's not going to pay you. Not gonna lie, it will if you're doing what you need to do. And literally, somebody who worked at Capital One, he saw my social media and everything I was doing at FAMU, and he was like, "I think you'd be great for this position." He sent me the application, and I was like, "This is a scam. Like, I know a scam when I see one." But literally, I was like, "What's? It's not asking for anything serious. It's not asking for me to pay no money. Let me just apply." And I want to say he sent that about I want to say it was a little bit before December, so like maybe around November, December. In February, I got the call that I got the job, and I was over the moon because I was really scared about what I was going to do post grad. But literally, social media.
Okay. I'm taking a step back. Professional development wise, what are internships that helped you along the way as well?
Well, my first ever internship was actually with the University of Housing. I was their marketing intern, and I think that actually helped me professionally develop how I want to communicate in terms of wanting to do marketing. Because I think prior to coming to FAMU, I didn't really necessarily think marketing was my thing. I just thought social media was something that I treated as fun and that I could always, use to express myself creatively. But I think that internship specifically showed me that whatever you're doing creatively, it can achieve different things. So I think through the internship, I was able to learn like, oh, this would be a great way to connect with, students as they're coming to university, figuring out what hall they want to live in, that experience of being in a hall, the difference between the different halls, just so many different things from that.
Okay, that's what's up. That's what's up. And is there anything you wish you had done differently while in school, leading up to graduating?
Be more on time.
More on time.
Like if anybody were to ask my professors about me, the first thing they would say that Chaz was always late. Like, and it was bad. But I think as I matriculate, post grad, I'm learning, being on time, it takes time. It takes, prepping maybe 2 to 3 hours before, but definitely would have been more on time.
And I alluded to a little bit, but how are you still contributing to the Florida Agricultural Mechanical University?
Ah, so many different things from, like you said, the DMV FAMU experience. Every year we take a group of students from the DMV, which is DC, Maryland, Virginia, and bring them to FAMU, which is sometimes a 14-hour drive. So imagine that with, 30 to 60 kids. But doing that experience definitely is probably been one of my biggest honors because having them come on campus and go to the football game and, go to the bowling alley or just different experiences that I had as a student, having them experience that and now seeing them transition to actually become full-time students at FAMU, it's so full circle. So I feel like that's the biggest thing. Always families are gonna get my money for 1887 the strike. So the day of giving, always get my money for that. And then recently this year actually we did boots on the ground for Day of Giving. So obviously fans was a part of it. So we actually did a collaboration with FAMU to percentage of our proceeds we gave back to the university.
Okay.
So that was really cool too. And yeah, just anytime I can create content about our university, I try to do that. And I just love it. Love FAMU always.
So, yeah, this is my first time donating as an alumni.
How I feel,
Donated
how I
during,
feel.
man, it felt good. I put it towards, I donate, and you can donate towards specific schools. So I did towards
Mm-hmm.
engineering school because, that's where I, came from. That's what
Got
made me
you.
who I am now. So I felt like it was only right. So I donated my
Mm-hmm.
little 1887, you know what I'm saying? And went about the
That's
rest of my day.
as you should. We love it. We love it. It counts. It counts.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
But what's one goal or dream you're currently working toward? Like what's the like where do you see yourself like 5, 10 years from now? Bigger
Mm.
picture.
That's a loaded question. And it's funny because I actually, my senior project when I graduated from the theater program was to literally create a 5, 10, 20-year vision board.
Mm,
And I feel like since graduating, I've been following it to the best of my ability. And I will say, like, the biggest thing that I'm currently working on is getting this short film, like, produced and finished. And hopefully we get to go to film festivals. And, I've been trying to look up, how to get awards and stuff like that. So hopefully we're in those spaces where I can say, we're an award-winning film.
yeah.
So that's the biggest thing that I'm working on currently.
That's what's up. And the many dreams, that's the one you're focusing on. I got you.
Yes.
So I think this is something I really want to talk about. Shazam fans.
Oh, God.
It's literally taking the nation by storm.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Literally been taking the nation by storm. I was telling you before the call, I got my mom one. She just came at Delta
Come on.
for the Wilmington, Delaware alumni chapter back in April. But
Mhm.
like, what was the motivation behind developing Shazam fans? Like, were you already working on that
Yeah.
during undergrad, or was that something that was like, boom, I want to make fans? Like, what was the motivation?
It's so funny. I was motivated by so many different things, and it's funny because when I was in undergrad, I actually got my first fan. So I went to Busch Gardens with my friends. Like I said, my friends were always like, "Chaz, you need to get out the house. Chaz, you need to stop thinking about FAMU." And we went to Busch Gardens during the summer, and I want to say I had just one KOG. So they were like, "This is your celebration. We gonna have fun." So went to Busch Gardens. Anyone who knows me knows I hate sweating. Like that's like my number one pet peeve. So I'm like at Busch Gardens having a great time. I'm a little hot, but having a great time. As we are leaving, I saw a colorful Busch Gardens fan in the shop, and I said, I'm buying it. So literally, I bought it, and I would use it all the time when I got back on campus. Mind you, this is a rainbow fan that says Busch Gardens. So people would look at me like, what's going on here? And I felt like in my mind, it was, I don't want to sweat, but then it was like, as a fashion, enthusiast, it wasn't making sense. Like it does not match
Mm,
my outfit. It's not giving. And I think shortly after that, I actually went to my first classic, Orange Blossom Classic. And when I went there, I was walking and I saw somebody with a fan, and it was a FAMU fan. And I said, where'd you get that? And they said, wherever I got it from, they sold out. They don't got no more. I literally bought the fan off the lady for like $20. And granted, the fan wasn't double sided. It was the design was pretty mundane, if I'm being honest. But I knew that there was something there because I was excited about it. If I could create something like this that was premium quality, that had a design that rattlers and just anybody would fall in love with, I knew that I could like possibly take something far. So literally after I graduated, I opened Shazam's Closet, which is the fashion side of what I do, and I sold the the FAMU Rattler fan, and someone was like, I'm buying this for $20. I'm buying this for $25. I was like, okay, I'm hearing that y'all would pay money for a fan. So over that year, I took some time to just start developing, getting in the lab, designing fans, seeing like what quality we wanted to make it. And our first fans were actually going to be D9 fans. But that process was a lot in itself. So I said I was just going to start with FAMU because I feel like that's a community that I know and I love and I can, reach back to. And we developed our first ever FAMU fan in 2023, July. And, obviously, home, homecoming's coming up, Orange Blossom Classic was coming up, and us releasing it blew up because we went to Orange Blossom Classic, and I live in South Florida. So going there and having the fan and people being like, didn't you just graduate? You created this product. When did you start? All of that stuff, it really motivated me to keep growing the brand, to represent everybody from different cultures, like I said before, to even different universities and going into PWI. So really just inspired and motivated by everyone around me who pushed me to keep going.
so where them fans at?
Right. I was trying to see if I have one in here. I was I was
Where them
like,
fans at? That's what's up. That's
thank
amazing.
you,
That's
thank
amazing.
you.
So after you developed the FAMU one, like what was the next design you went for? Like specifically go for like the HBCU side, or were you just like just creating stuff?
Well, our first ever collection was called the Coloring Book, so it was just plain fans of different colors, black, red, blue, orange, all of that. But after we did FAMU, I knew that the HBCU that I had to do next was Howard, because like I said, Howard was my second choice. So,
Yeah.
and I actually was living in DC at the time. So I think the more that I was around students and interacting with them, and even though, DC is a much colder climate, people were like, I still want a fan just to clack it. Or I often get hot flashes of just different people telling me like different things that they go through. So I was like, Howard was definitely next on my list. And then after that, we just continued going with different HBCUs and starting different collections.
That's what's up. That's what's up. And then like when you're going, let me see. Can you walk us through the creative process? Let me start with that.
Mm,
Can you talk through the creative process of like FAMU, especially when you're designing for different HBCUs. We know we went to FAMU, but like how'd you go
mhm.
about the design and creative process behind, all the other fans you create?
Yeah, so first of all, I'm an HBCU enthusiast. Like if anybody tells me I want to go to college, my first thing is an HBCU. Now, I understand HBCUs aren't for everybody, and I definitely understand that, but it's gonna be my first choice every time. And as an HBCU enthusiast, I love like researching different HBCUs. So understanding like what makes this HBCU that HBCU. So even Howard, them being called the Mecca, I was like, as soon as I got to Howard, I said, why do they call y'all the Mecca? And understanding, obviously it being the birthplace of so many different, alumni that have done great things, from Taraji P. Henson to Chadwick Boseman, like I said earlier, to even just the aspect of like they have this clock tower that is like the home, central part of campus to their yard, understanding their D9, because that's where majority of the D9s were actually started at Howard's campus. So understanding all of those things for each of the different HBCUs was is a beautiful experience. And I probably traveled to about, I want to say about 20 of the HBCUs that I have so far. The goal is to go to all 107 before I reach 30. So,
Hey,
pray I can make it to all of them. But I think just, going onto each of these campuses or looking them up on social media, following them, seeing what their branding is like, seeing what their, students like, how do they dress? How do they, what are some of their slogans? All of those different things go into the creative process for each of our HBCU fans.
that's amazing. And that's a goal you could have mentioned earlier of working towards going to all the HBCUs before you turn 30.
I've been scared about that goal because I went to North Carolina A&T for homecoming. they took me out. I said I have to come back next year, but I have to liquid IV every day. Because oh God, I was tired. I was tired.
And like I said earlier, Shazam fans has taken the nation literally by storm. What do you think contributed the most to that success?
I think a lot of different things. I think especially when we first started, I don't know if you're familiar with Auntie P, but I have
Hmm.
to personally always shout her out because I wasn't necessarily stationed in Tallahassee anymore. And although we had created the FAMU fan, I think a lot of people didn't know the different intricacies of a fan. So people
Hmm.
just thought Chaz is creating a fan because he hot. And I think Auntie P kind of showing, no, you can clack it, you can dance with it,
Yeah.
you can, there's a lot of different things you can do with this. I think a lot of students think that being like, oh, this is why he made the brand. And it essentially shot up from there because Shade Room had reposted her. And mind you, while Shade Room had reposted her, people were around her with my fan. So I
Yeah.
think that just literally all happened so beautifully. And even now, a year later, they just started, boots on the ground. So I think that has also just shot us into a whole nother stratosphere of where Chazam fans can go. And it's so funny because I was telling my mom recently, I was just like, this is before Boots on the Ground came out. And I was just like, Mom, I don't know. Like, I don't know how we can keep expanding this. But I think as time goes on, I think more industries and people are just like creating avenues for fans to be something that's staple. So from Beyonce's Renaissance of last year, Heated, I think that song definitely put fans on the radar for people too. So a lot of different things, a lot of different things.
That's what's up. And yeah, I do remember the first game I saw with her clacking the
Yeah.
fan. And then I do remember it get posted on Shade Room. I'm like, yo, Fabi's
Mhm.
on Shade Room right now.
Right.
And it's, you know what I'm saying? And it's because, like, something positive happens. Usually on Shade Room, something
Hmm.
negative. But it was something from
Negative.
positive. And I was, like, really happy about that. And it just became her whole, like, whole personality. Because
Yeah.
I didn't know her. I went to, like, a few of the dance classes she hosted at the rec center. But I was
Hmm.
like, yo, that's amazing. And then that kind of contributed to the success. Yes, yes. I don't remember the games.
Yeah.
You go like, yes,
Yes.
yes, yes, yes. You get the
Yes.
whole
Yes.
crowd hype. I
I
remember
love
that,
it. I love it.
and
Yes.
that was fall 23 too. So a few months
Hmm.
after you launched. So that's amazing. And
Hmm.
then like when did you first start seeing like big trends of growth within Shazam fans, either popularity, people saying I want one, or even with
Hmm.
sales, like which like within the first year mark, when did you start seeing like success or
Um,
growth? Growth is a better way to say it.
Growth.
Growth.
Yeah, I would definitely say, especially in terms of sales, I think after the Shade Room thing, sales were skyrocketing. When Homecoming came around, once again, skills were rocketing. And it's so funny because Mariah the Scientist, she had actually, I think a student, I think his name was Max, was using the fan during Homecoming at the concert. And she
Ah,
saw it and she was like, I want that fan. And she literally got the fan and she was using it on stage. And I hadn't gotten to FAMU at that time because I was coming the next day and people were sending it to me while I was on my plane. And I was like, at the time, I didn't really know who Mariah the Scientist was. So I'm like, okay, a lady with my fan. But I think the more that I learned, I was like, oh, she's popping. She's T.
yeah,
Okay. So literally just all of those different things. I think it just helped our growth keep growing. I mean, even since then, I think the next big growth stunt for us has been, the boots on the ground. A lot of universities have been reaching out to us of like, hey, we want to order 500 for our students. And I love that
wow,
because I think, especially when it comes to, thank you, but when it comes to our brand, I think the biggest thing with our HBCU collection, yes, we would love for, students to buy their fan, but the biggest thing is for universities more so to buy the fan for the students, to put in their, welcome bags or to put in to do a giveaway, just a way for students don't feel like, all my money's gone. I have to spend money on the stuff I need. But I think the university is more so doing something for students that's universal. We have different sizes, but it's not necessarily like a shirt where it's like we have to ask for your size. It's a fan. So
yeah.
they can use it anywhere and they can use it to do anything.
Have you collaborated with anyone like Walmart or student stores? Have you done ever done that?
So yeah, we are in Walmart. Yes, we're online at Walmart, and the goal is actually to get physically in Walmart. But I've been trying to take my time with that because I think our biggest thing is that with all of the DEI stuff going on and just so many different policies changing, we want to make sure that our brand stays in terms of being inclusive and just diverse and reaching the people like personally and not feeling like, oh, go buy it. We don't want to talk to you.
Yeah,
Like I feel like connecting with, our customers and kind of going to these games and selling, even though it's a lot, personally on me to fly out or drive out to these places and bring all this inventory. I think it's a great experience of hearing, these stories firsthand of, I'm learning how to clack a fan or, I need a fan because I have hot flashes. Just hearing these different experiences, it's like it's really interesting, but I hope the goal is to get into, like I said, Walmart physically, so I don't have to run around everywhere and people being like, "Hey, I need a fan," and I'm like, "I'm at the game. I can't even enjoy a game no more." So I definitely think that's the goal going forward.
What about collaboration with content creators? Have you ever considered doing that?
So it's so funny. We're actually in the process of launching our new ambassador program, which will consist of influencers, ambassadors, and interns. Because I think in this past year we had our first HBCU class, and we had about 25 students in the class from different HBCUs. We had about three from FAMU, so that experience was great. But none of them were like necessarily influencers,
Mm,
but they were just more so like students who loved our brand, who would love to showcase it on their campus. But I think going into this next year, we do want to get influencers who kind of have, a niche for creating content. And I think fans are such a specific niche that takes a lot of thought to make content for these fans. And I think for this past year, I've been the biggest influencer for the brand. But I kind of want to get away from that and kind of expand it so other people can be the influencer for our brand.
got you. We're gonna wrap it here with a few more questions, but how'd you
Gotcha,
go
gotcha.
about the your business plan for Shazam fans?
So the business plan was actually very interesting. I think when I first started, the goal was just like I said to sell fans. But I think as time went on, and I was like, okay, I want to do custom fans, and then implementing sleeves. So sleeves are like essentially what you carried in. The business plan continues to grow, and I am trying to continuously expand it because I think people we like things to constantly improve. So and I understand that. So I feel like our business plan is constantly improving.
Nice, nice. And then like, how are you feeling? Like just talking about this, reflecting on the past almost 2 years of Shazam fans getting launched. Like, how are you feeling?
First of all, grateful to God. But secondly, just I would say honored. I think originally when I thought about the fans, I never really saw it getting to this point. I feel like I knew it would be a great idea. I thought I was just gonna stay with FAMU. But the more that we grow, I continuously, like I said, I'm just grateful because I think our brand would mean nothing, obviously without God, but obviously without the people who make it what it is today. So our community.
Okay. How can people find you on social media or even get a fan? You know what I'm
Oh,
saying? Like
we you know we
where
got
can
you.
people look? Where can people look? Where can people
We
look?
got you. So my personal social media is ala.chazam. So that's ala.chazam, Chazam. But our fans, if you want to get a fan, our Instagram is Chazam Fans. But our website is www.chazamfans.com. And I can spell that. So that's Chazam Fans.
It's amazing. Black excellence, not only
Thank you.
black
Thank
excellence,
you.
but FAMU excellence.
Come on.
You know
You
what I
know it.
mean?
Okay.
But that's all the questions I have. This is a great way to kick off season three, especially with your 2 year mark coming up
Thank
for
you. Thank
Shazam fans.
you.
I'm looking forward to everything you do. I'm looking forward
Thank
to
you.
I feed off. I think I told you when that's that's what we have to talk about. The store. I'm sorry.
The store. No, you're good.
Okay, that's what I
You're
want to talk
good.
about. The
Mhm.
store. Because I remember that's when I was like, yo, he like really made it. Like I already saw you popping on social media when you opened a physical store. I'm like, yo, he really made it. Like you talk about the process with that because that can also be a challenge with some entrepreneurs' journey.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely understand. And it's funny because I think for me, when I started last year, like 2024, I feel like one of my biggest, business goals for that year was I want to open a store. And I had just moved back to South Florida after being in DC for 2 years. And I was walking around and I saw we have like a flea market. So for those of you who don't know about a flea market is pretty much like a plaza of a whole bunch of different business owners, most of the time small business owners. And it's like a community feel, all of those things. So I was walking in flea market and I was like, there was an open space and they said four leads. And I was like, I'm getting it. I'm opening our storefront because I think at the time it was very scary for me of like not knowing what's next. I was officially a full-time entrepreneur, and I knew that essentially as a full-time entrepreneur, you have to find ways to reach people. And although social media is great, I thought at the time that opening a physical store would be, something that can connect with people in person and not always feel like I'm just answering DMs and
Yeah.
answering phone calls. And granted, it was an amazing, experience of opening our storefront. We opened from well, I bought it in June essentially, but we didn't have like our grand opening until September. And it was an amazing experience, like I said. But once again, I do travel a lot. So when it came to, somebody who was going to be in the store when Chaz isn't there, or just all those different things, it became more of a hassle than, a blessing. And like I said, I think it is still a blessing. But I just knew it would be better for us to take it in a different route. So we're actually in the process of trying to become like a mobile store So getting like an RV or some type of truck where we can physically go places to meet people where they're at instead of having them come to us. But yeah, the store was an amazing experience, and we shut it down January 1st of this year.
Okay, got
Yeah,
you.
so 6 months lived.
Oh, it's good. That's still an amazing accomplishment.
Thank
So,
you,
you know
thank
what I'm saying?
you.
Congrats on that.
Thank you, I
Um,
appreciate it.
we're gonna end on a positive note, even though it's a positive note. You know what I'm
It's
saying? It's a
positive, it's
learning
positive.
experience. But do you have any closing remarks, words of encouragement, or like anything you want to prompt to the audience to get them to think about their future?
Well, my biggest motto in life is that I'm chasing my dreams. So for anyone else, I think my charge to you is to chase your dreams because you know you're not Chaz, but chase them. Because I think when it comes to dreams, like sometimes they can feel far away, sometimes they can feel, impossible, they can feel out of reach. But I think if you take at least one step every day, you're gonna get there. And if I can be a testimony, a living proof to anybody, I think that's exactly what Shazam Fans has been for me. Just a step every day. And even Shazam Enterprises, the more that you step, the higher you go and the more that you can do. So yeah,
All right. Well, once again, thank you, Chaz, for taking the time out of your
thank you,
busy
Ra.
schedule.
Mhm.
I appreciate you. Just be able to take time for this. So, and I hope it was able to leave a good influence on the viewer watching this, and contribute to your success as Shazam
Thank
Enterprise continues to
you.
grow and whatnot. And I wish you the best of luck with Shazam Fans, everything with Shazam Enterprise, from film to anything else you might have in the books for planning. You
Thank
know what I'm
you.
saying?
Thank you.
So,
Shout out to
yeah,
you. Come on, because this podcast, your 1 year, shout out to you. Love it, love it. Continue doing great things, bro. I love it. I love it.
I appreciate you. Well, we're gonna close out. If to the viewer watching this, if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And be sure to buy you a Shazam fan and
Um,
keep a lookout for anything that might be appealing to the eye that you might want to have around with you,
um,
especially because summer's approaching. Wherever you're at. Well, mostly in the
hello.
South. Definitely get a fan. You feel me?
We gotta love
But
it though.
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Until then, next time, y'all take it easy. Buy you a fan.
Come on.